And radical acceptance might sound like turning things over to God, but really it comes down to that serenity, prayer, and you've got to be really honest with yourself in this. And that is the accepting the things I cannot change. And so the difference between placing my burdens at the feet of Jesus or what other higher source there is, accepting things, and this I am broken piece is that when you think you are broken, you give your power away. But if I recognize that the way, we'll say, my dad treated me, I don't have the power to change the way my dad treats me. Therefore, I'm going to accept the fact that I can't change that. And then I'm going to turn that power back on to me and say, since I can't change my father, how can I respond differently so that I don't give my power away? I'm not going to lay that burden at Jesus' feet and say, hey, my dad won't change. I'm going to lay this problem at your feet, and I'm going to still engage with my dad with the hopes that Jesus is just going to fix it eventually. Jesus soften his heart, Jesus this, Jesus that. Still pray for those things, sure, but don't give your power away. If I say I can't change this outside thing, but I can recognize that this outside thing is having this impact on my life, I'm going to reach out to my higher power and say, something along the lines of, help me see the things that I need to see so that I can make changes and shift in my life. And then you really begin to dig in from that place of what I'm doing, thinking, experiencing right now isn't working for me. What might I shift so that I can have a different outcome for me? Or what barriers or boundaries might I need to put into place? For me, Sarah Westbrook, when I got to the place where I was ready to accept that I had done everything I could to invite my father to engage with my family differently, and that he was in a place where he could not or would not do that, I kept my power and said, I love you. I'm going to love you from a distance. We can't contact each other anymore because I need to protect myself and my children from the trauma that you continue to bring into our home. That is accepting what I can't change while keeping my power. And frankly, since I've cut off that contact, our entire family has been healthier and happier. And when we go and visit family in Arizona, and my kids know, hey, we're not having to go to Grandma and Papa Lee's house because that was overwhelming and stressful. We have more fun as a family because we've taken that piece off the table. It's been a positive thing for our family. And so I really want to dig in and challenge this idea that Christian churches teach that you're broken, because when they do that, what ends up happening is the authority figures in that religious organization or the organization itself maintains its power and control over you because you now need them to be happy. And that's not the same as connecting with your higher power so that you experience more happiness. I want you to recognize the subtle changes in the words that I'm using. You don't need a religious person, like a person in authority within a religious organization, or the organization itself to make you happy. But as you connect with a higher power, people report feeling more joy. It's subtle, but it's profound. One of the things that Stephen Hassens teaches about cults is that the way that they keep control over you is in this, let me see if I texted Mason the name of it. It's learned helplessness. That's what Stephen has. I texted it to Mason last night so I wouldn't forget the terminology. But when we teach you are broken, you need somebody else, God or Jesus, to fix you, we are perpetuating learned helplessness. And I don't like that, because when you are in a position of I'm helpless and there's nothing I can do about it, and then that's compounded with this idea of be afraid, because without this church, without this organization, without Jesus, without God, you are doomed. You won't be happy. You will be lost. You will be in darkness. You will be fill in the blank. What ends up happening is this power shift, which makes the organization more cult-like. And the more you see that power shift, the more that is preached and taught and embraced, the more culty the organization or the person in authority is going to get. They're going to have unhealthy power over you. It's something called undue influence. Whereas if you recognize my body was created the way it was created, my brain is here, and I'm talking about your neurotypical brains. Okay, so this is the majority of humanity. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. So if you are engaging in thoughts or behaviors or something that isn't working for you, it doesn't mean you're broken. That's your brain's way of saying, I'm protecting you, I'm keeping you alive. And we have to slow that system down so that we can dig into that neurobiology and say, hey, what's the perceived threat here? What's the message that I'm believing that maybe isn't serving me today the way it served me 5 years ago? That's that gaining better understanding. Because let's say that you're struggling with something like habitual lying, and you recognize that being chronically dishonest in your relationships is making it so that you don't have a lot of friends, or that all of your friendships are very superficial. You're not broken because you're lying. Somewhere along the line, your brain learned that lying was what was needed, that dishonesty was what you needed to survive. And as you address the issue at its core cause, your neurobiology begins to change and shift and adapt so that you can develop more integrity and honesty in your day-to-day interactions with people. And as you expose yourself to honesty and have that positive feedback, your brain heals. Not because it's broken. We're not talking about your brain is broken because of trauma. We're talking about your brain being in a heightened state of protectiveness, and that as you work through that, you begin to recognize, I no longer need this habit, behavior, thought process, whatever, to keep me safe. My environment is different today than it was before. And you have the power to change that. That's not broken. You're not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what it needs to do to keep you alive. And if you could see me right now talking, like my hands are flailing all over the place. And it's a really good thing that I have this mic filter, the pop filter on my mic, because I've spit into it so many times today because I'm all super passionate about what I'm saying to you. So I want you to recognize that your neurobiological and physiological responses are normal based on your experiences, your worldview, your belief systems, your culture, the traumas you've experienced, your experiential reality, your perceived reality, your objective reality. All of those words are different. We talk about objective and subjective truths. That's where we get into this vocabulary of my truth, your truth, the truth. Lots of different words moving on in here. But your neurobiology and physiology is responding exactly the way it was designed to respond based on all of those factors. And as you yourself dig into that to understand and explore and then reach out to connect with that higher power, whether that be God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, so on and so forth, that you will have more power to achieve what you are looking for and experience a deeper relationship with that higher power in ways that serve you better, that also keeps you in the driver's seat of your own mind, of your own critical thinking, of your life. I lived the first 38 years of my life giving my power away to the dogmas and practices of the Mormon Church, also known as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it literally almost killed me. I became suicidal because I was so broken. I could not fix it. That's what I'm trying to protect you, my dear listener, from, is getting into that brain space where you are so overwhelmed by the things that are not going, quote unquote, perfect in your life, that toxic perfectionism that often comes as a result of high demand religion or really ingrained belief systems that are in place because of, it's the way that we've been doing religious traditions for eons and eons and eons. That spiritual bypassing makes it worse, not better. I want you to be able to shift your understanding so that you keep your power, so that you have more control over getting better, of your own healing, of your own wellness, so that you can connect and belong better in your chosen culture, your chosen families. And I believe in chosen family, y'all. Adoption and my Army family has taught me my chosen family is amazing. So whether you're choosing family that you share DNA with or not, that chosen family and your own higher power and your religious or cultural practices, I want all of that to work together for your good and your betterment. And we can do that as we understand ourselves, connect with ourselves, and then reach out to those higher powers, into those cultural and religious beliefs that support wellness and improvement.